All right, let's talk about the packaging on pretty much everything you buy. Because right now, there's this hidden economic force that's completely changing how it all gets designed. It's kind of a quiet revolution, but it comes with a very, very loud price tag.
So, picture this. We've all done it, right? You finish a drink, you toss the bottle in the recycling bin, and you feel like you did your part. But have you ever stopped to wonder who actually pays for that bottle to get picked up, sorted, and hopefully turned into something new? For a long, long time, the answer was you did, through your local taxes. Well, that is all starting to change. And that's because there's this new system popping up all over the world. It's a system that puts a very real, very direct price on every single piece of packaging that a company creates. And this, right here, is the big shift. The bill for dealing with all that packaging waste, it's no longer being sent to cities and taxpayers. Instead, it's being handed right back to the producers, the companies who designed, made, and sold you that product in the first place. This new rulebook has a name you're going to be hearing a lot about: Extended Producer Responsibility, or for short, EPR. So let's dig into how it actually works. So what is EPR really? Well, at its heart, it's a policy that forces companies to pay for what happens to their packaging after you're done with it. They have to foot the bill for the collection, the sorting, the recycling, the whole shebang. Suddenly, waste isn't just some problem they can ignore. It's a line item on their balance sheet. Now, companies don't just, mail a check to the government. It's a bit more organized than that. They pay fees to these groups called Producer Responsibility Organizations, or PROs. You can think of a PRO as the manager of the entire system. In the US, a big one is the Circular Action Alliance. They take the fees from all the different companies and use that cash to fund and improve the recycling system for everyone. Okay, but here's where it gets really smart. This is the magic ingredient. The whole system runs on something called eco-modulation. It's not a flat tax. The fees are adjusted or modulated based on how easy a package is to recycle. So, if you design a simple, easy-to-recycle package, you pay a lower fee. But if you make something complex and hard to recycle, you get hit with a much, much higher fee. It's a direct financial punishment for bad design and a reward for good design. So how does a pro actually figure out the fee for one specific bottle or one specific box? You might think it's some crazy complicated process, but it actually boils down to a surprisingly simple formula. The fee a company pays comes down to just three things. It's the weight of the package multiplied by a base rate that depends on the material, and then multiplied by a design factor. That's it. Weight, material, and how recyclable it is. Those are the three levers that set the final price. Let's just focus on that base rate for a second. These are the proposed fees in the UK for 2025. And wow, you can see the difference right away. Paper and cardboard, under £200 a ton. Aluminum is a bit more, but then look at plastic. It's more than double the cost of paper. So right off the bat, just choosing your material has a massive impact on your costs. And then you add that design factor, that eco-modulation on top. So on one side, you've got a simple, clear, single material bottle that's easy to recycle. So it gets a low design factor, maybe even a discount on the fee. But on the other side, you've got a package with multiple layers, weird dark colors, strange labels, a total nightmare for recyclers. That gets hit with a penalty, a high design factor that makes the fee skyrocket. And here's the thing you have to understand. This isn't just a quirky little policy happening in one or two countries. This model is spreading like wildfire. It's quickly becoming the global standard. I mean, just look across the map. From the UK to the EU's broad regulations to new state laws in places like California and Oregon, the core idea is exactly the same. The details might change a little from place to place, sure, but that fundamental principle, producers pay fees based on weight and material, and those fees are always adjusted based on how easy their package is to recycle. It's the same DNA everywhere. And some of these laws have some serious teeth. California's SB 54, for instance, isn't just about fees. It literally mandates that by 2032, 100% of single-use packaging has to be recyclable or compostable. And on top of that, it forces a 25% reduction in plastic packaging overall. the pressure to change is intense. So, what does this all mean if you're one of the people actually designing this stuff? It means the old way of doing things is over. You need a completely new playbook. To keep their fees low, smart brands are basically following a new 5-step plan. First, they design according to established recyclability guides. Second, they go on a mission to hunt down and get rid of any red flag features that bring penalties. Third, they push for simpler, single material designs. Fourth, and this is so important, they calculate what their fees are going to be early in the process, not as an afterthought. And finally, they actually talk to the PROs in their markets to make sure they know the rules of the game. Let's talk about those red flags for a sec. Certain design choices now pretty much trigger an automatic penalty. We're talking about things like PFAS, those forever chemicals, or carbon black plastic, which is basically invisible to sorting machines. Certain inks, certain glues, shiny metallized films that mess up sorting. If you use any of this stuff, you're starting with the highest possible fee right out of the gate.
You know, this quote from the source material really just hits the nail on the head. In this new world, your data is everything. These EPR fees are all calculated based on the exact weight and material of every single part of your package. If your data is wrong, if you misclassify something, the penalty you pay could literally cost you more than it would have just switched to a better material from the start. Data accuracy is now a design tool.
And the amount of money we're talking about here is just staggering. In California, for example, on top of all the other fees, plastic producers have to pay into a special fund to clean up plastic pollution. The bill for that? $500 million every single year. So when you boil it all down, the takeaway is actually pretty simple. For decades, we've asked companies to be more sustainable. We've begged them to design better packaging. Now, we're just making them pay when they don't. It turns out that financial accountability is the most powerful tool we have to drive real, meaningful, sustainable design.
This whole system is a radical change. It turns a piece of packaging from just a marketing tool into a really complex financial calculation. And it leaves all of us with a really big question. Will making producers finally pay the true price of their packaging be the thing that actually solves our massive global packaging problem?